Hi, Daph.
Hello, Mother.
How goes it?
It goes well. How goes it for you?
It goes, the usual.
Goes, yeah, life.
Yeah.
Life. I applied for my graduation, though, and my graduation application got accepted. So I'm graduating. Yay! That's my big news. Okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
You have to apply to graduate even though you've paid all the money and went to the classes?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
And done well, I might add.
Yeah. Very well. My graduate program, my grades have definitely been better than any other thing I've ever done in my life, probably.
Well, that's what happens when you're...
Happens when I care about it. Yeah.
Something like that.
Correct. All right. What you got for me?
Okay, so I'm not going to have a disturbing fact today in lieu of a disturbing fact. I'm just going to address the last case I did, the Merlin Santana case. So after I did the case, it was a Michael request, and I reached out to Michael to let him know that I did it. And he said, yeah, I got the notification. I can't wait to listen.
This was horrible.
And
the worst thing I've ever heard.
Kind of what it felt like. But he said,
fucking awful. Thanks for listening to what I asked you to do, but thanks for not doing what I asked you to do.
Yeah, so it was disturbing because I was like beating myself up. He said, I think you ladies did pretty good. And I was like, fuck, man. He's not as...
we have anxiety and we overread into things. We overthink things. So when you say the word pretty in front of the word good, it's like...
soul crushing?
Yeah. If you would have said, you guys did a good job, that would have been a whole different animal, Michael. I just want you to know that. When you say you do pretty good, my mom, she goes to overthinking, overprocessing, overdrive. She calls me, oh my God, Michael thinks I'm the worst person ever. He can't get on board with what I just did. This is an issue. It was a whole thing. We've had back and forth communication. I'm quitting the podcast.
No, that's
one bad review.
Well, that's not true. But,
yeah, right.
But no, it wasn't that bad. But
no, actually, I don't think Michael's a hater. I was going to say we keep going because of the haters. I don't think Michael's a hater.
No, not at all. We had a really good exchange. I just felt like, yes, my soul was crushed because...
That was a little dramatic, but I definitely had my soul crushed.
Well, Daphne's like, my mom was like crying. I'm the worst person ever. Michael thinks I'm terrible. No, I didn't say any of those things. I just said that my soul was crushed because I think that I thought that, I thought that he would like it more than he did, which I could only do what I could do. So it is what it is. But I just wanted to read his email instead of doing my disturbing fact because I thought it was really disturbing. It was disturbing to me, but then everything ended up being okay, and that's all good. Not that he didn't. Oh gosh. Okay, I'm just going to read the email.
He said he appreciates us. That was the bottom line.
That was the bottom line. He said, I think you ladies did pretty good. I know Merlin and Lloyd's cases were different, and he's talking about the Lloyd Avery case, which he heard Daphne do, and then that made him do the case request for Merlin.
That guy was so fucking weird
which
and crazy.
I then did. But Lloyd Avery was like,
I don't think he deserved to die in a satanic ritual, but that motherfucker was weird and crazy. Yeah. And off the top.
And there was a lot that went with that.
Everything was very off the riff with that guy.
Yeah, there was a lot of media attention surrounding that.
Yeah.
So there was a lot you could find.
And a lot of chaos.
And you could find all the court transcripts and stuff.
But you couldn't find anything out about the victims. But that's neither here nor there.
Oh, that's always the way it is. But anyway, so he said, I know Merlin and Lloyd's cases were different since Merlin wasn't a murderer and didn't go to prison, but they're both cases of life imitating art. Back in 2002, months before his death, he played a character named Mayhem. That's how I first heard of Merlin as a kid. That was kind of a depiction of Tupac. Merlin's character was involved in the intense, often dangerous and volatile world of the hip-hop industry, which often touched on themes of street violence, fame, and dangerous liaisons. And Lloyd Avery II became deeply entrenched in a real-life street gang culture and violence-based off his character on Boys in the Hood. Both had violent and avoidable demises, but in Merlin's case, his death is remembered as a cautionary tale of, quote, when a lie kills, with the irony that he lost his life in a situation that felt strikingly similar to a dramatic violent script, which I found to be disturbing and uneasy. Thank you, ladies. Thank you again, ladies, for listening to your supporters. I appreciate it. And then I responded, well, shoot. I have never heard about this, And now I feel like I didn't do it justice. It was hard.
I don't think that's true. I think you did it well. Remember, we had the conversation about the fact that, like, a lot of it was very hard to dig up and find, especially if you don't know what you're looking for. So, and everyone has 86 names in this case.
Yeah, well, and there's that. But I said, I've never heard about this, and now I feel like I didn't do it justice, which Daphne just said I did as best I could. It was hard to find information about the case, and he is very much portrayed as living a very clean life. The only thing even closely alluding to a less than squeaky clean guy is the small snippet I found where William Lee Scott talks about him having a wild and crazy side. The stuff I could find about the YTC, and that was the gang that he rolled with in his neighborhood, but he wasn't in the gang. But anyway, so the stuff I could find about the YTC was very downplayed. I could do an addendum if you'd like. I should have looked more closely at his role in Played. I saw one of his photos online. He looks like Tupac. I should have investigated that more closely. I didn't look at any of the image pages before I did the Instagram, so I plead innocence on that. I also felt like he put himself in a bad situation and with that girl, but he obviously had no way of knowing how things would play out. The circumstances of their brief encounter are very mixed. The thing about them partying and having sex on the first night and hanging out are disputed by everyone who is in Merlin's camp. And as I said, there's almost nothing major about his involvement with the YTC. Even the leader, Chango, didn't implicate him in any gang activity, at least not that I could find. And that was it. And then I told him I was going to read this. And then he came back. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he came back and was like, no. Basically, you did do a good job. And I understand that it was hard to find information about it. And because Lloyd Avery was so off the rails and it was much more of a major scandal, it was easy to find information where Merlin's wasn't.
He was a public figure who ended up doing all this crazy shit and then was murdered in a satanic ritual. Yeah. That's pretty out there.
So, in his response, he said, "You did great," with an exclamation point, which
eased our overthinking, eased our anxiety.
Yeah. Exactly. But I mean, I didn't need it like you did great with an exclamation point, but I do appreciate that so much, Michael, because yes, I was soul crushed in the beginning. But anyway, so that's my disturbing fact, because that was a fact that happened this week that I was disturbed by.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your addendum.
Sure.
Addendum?
Sort of an addendum. I mean, I can't really...
Is that the right word that I was looking for?
It is what you're looking for. And I thought, like, when I said to him I could do an addendum and add more things, but I really couldn't find anything. I just did my best.
We'll keep communication open with you, Michael. Yeah. We really appreciate the feedback, though.
100%.
Constructive criticism, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, I totally understand the anxiety. Like, when totally blanking on his name right now, the guy who killed his whole family and his mother-in-law and...
Oh, Ernest Ingenito.
Yes, when his granddaughter messaged me on Instagram, messaged us, but I saw it.
And you were the one that did the case.
My heart stopped. I was like, oh my God, I offended a family member. You should see the look on my face right now in my hand positions. I was like, I'm just going to go jump off a cliff now. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing I can do. I'm a horrible human. And I opened her message and the little clip, the little snippet of it that I could see was, I'm Ernest Ingenito's granddaughter. I was like, fuck my life. Everybody hates me now. And she's like, yes, did a great job. Can I give you more details? I was like, yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, you may. What a sweet girl.
Yeah, she was really nice.
Yeah.
So no, we both appreciate the constructive criticism and the feedback. And
if you think we suck, you can keep that to your fucking self, okay? Because I'm not on your Instagram commenting that you fucking suck.
That's not directed towards you, Michael. That's just in general to the people that hate us.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with you, Michael. Less than nothing. Appreciate your constructive criticism.
Yes, 100%.
The people that say we suck, that's not very constructive.
No, and
it's
just don't listen,
criticism.
because there's millions of other podcasts you can listen to. Literally 4 million other podcasts you could listen to.
At least.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you. Thanks, Michael, for your feedback, for real.
Okay, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Your head tilt. You look like one of the French. It's like not answering my question, just tilts her head. This is a Casey request. We need a drum roll. Darlie Routier.
Routier.
I watched
I'm doing Darlie Routier.
I watched a YouTube video.
That's always helpful.
Yes, it was. It was very helpful. So the very first thing when I Googled her name said, maybe she didn't do it. Okay, so there was 2 deliverables. Normally it's just like with Michael's case request, right? It was just tell me the case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need your fucking opinion on it. Just tell me the case. We always give our fucking opinion, but just tell me the case.
Kind of. I didn't fully give my opinion about the Merlin thing until that email.
Well, we do. We talk about people suck and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Like, we're not like, oh man, he was wrong place, wrong time. Bummer to be him. No, that fucking sucks.
It does suck.
Like, anyway, so there's 2 deliverables on this case. It was a tell the case. And what are your thoughts and opinions on this case?
Dun, dun, dun.
So keep that in mind as we go through this, okay?
Okay.
Because we need to have a conversation at the end regarding our thoughts on who done it.
Should I take notes?
If you want to take notes, I
I'm
can just
kidding.
recap you.
Kidding. I'll just pay attention. How about that?
Yeah, and I mean, there's like so much information out there that I feel like we could have made a whole 75 episodes on this. Like literally, there's that much out there about it.
But people would only listen to the first one and 5 minutes of the last
I don't
one.
even think that they would listen to 5 minutes of the last one or even the whole first one. They'd probably listen to, I don't know, the
12 seconds.
That's it. Hear the intro music. Wait. That's usually how it goes, as we've seen from our stats. Anyway, okay, so discussion and case happening here. And I want everyone to talk about it. So if you go to our Instagram after you're done listening, or if you've already heard it and have an opinion of your own, and after we post the post, if you could like text us about it or like comment on the Instagram. If you're Vienna and Heather, text us because you were not on Instagram.
Or Lindsay. Lindsay's on Instagram, but she would text you anyway.
Probably, yeah.
Daph's Lindsay.
Yeah.
Not our Lindsay in Pennsylvania.
Not our Lindsay. Well, the reason why we got this case is because she's where they're from. So.
Oh, because, yeah, Lindsay's friend Casey
Yes.
did the Casey
They're
request.
besties.
Yes,
We love them.
we do.
Yes. Our Lindsay is on Instagram. My Lindsay, my Lulu, she is also on Instagram. But yeah, I don't even know if she listens anymore. She's kind of busy being with child. So I don't expect her to listen. And being a boss bitch CEO. Okay. Darlie was born Darlie Lynn Peck on January 4th, 1970 in Altoona?
Altoona.
Yeah, that, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I couldn't find like anything about her young life, like literally anything. So when she was 15, her mom and her stepdad moved her to Leavitt, Texas. And like I said, I couldn't find like anything about her young life.
Okay.
Like, not a damn thing. Her mom or her or both of them, I don't really know. This is neither here nor there. One of them was working at this restaurant, and in the back was a 17-year-old cook, and that would be Darlie's husband. So Darlie met Darren Routier. He was the assistant regional manager at the restaurant.
At 17?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
He was voted most likely to succeed in high school,
Nice.
and he was described by people as quiet, hardworking, very mature for his age.
Clearly.
So, again, I saw that maybe Darlie worked here or her mom worked here, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. They met through the place, though, regardless of whoever worked there. It was absolute love at first sight. They had their date, their very first date that night. They were together from that moment on, like, just loved each other a lot.
Sweet.
So, in August 1988, they got married when she was 18 and he was 20.
Okay.
They had their first son, Devin Rush Routier, June 14th, 1989. And then their second son, Damon Christian Routier, was born February 19th, 1991. Darren, he started a business called Testneck that tested electronics, and it was a very successful business. In 1995, literally brought in $500,000 in revenue.
Wow.
He always paid himself an annual salary of $125,000.
Nice.
Like he's
And that's in 1989?
95.
95. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, that was the year they got married. I'm just going through time right
Fast
here.
forward.
Yeah, just a case of how,
Synopsis.
of how successful this business was. So it was said for a while that everything they touched turned to gold. They bought a house in Rowlett, I think is how you say it, which is a suburb that's just outside of Dallas. It's very affluent. They spent a lot of money renovating this home that they bought. Darren bought a boat. They had like a really nice car. He bought like a 1980 some Jaguar. Like he had
Oh, a Jaguar?
a Jaguar. Yes. Darlie got new boobs. All this.
I thought you were going to say boots. boots. I'm like, oh, he got a fucking jag and she got some boots.
No,
she got boobs.
She got boobs. She got 36. I heard that she either got a triple D or a double D.
Jeez.
I was like, oh, those are some boobs.
Yeah, that's some extra
all this
boobs.
to say, though, that they were doing very well for themselves.
No kidding.
She had like a very Barbie doll look about her. Very Brie Van de Camp-esque. If you've never seen Desperate Housewives, what are you doing? Watch it. It's the best show ever. That she was like always baking treats for the neighbors. She would have parties at her house, like was a very good neighbor, that like very inviting person. The kids in the neighborhood said that she was great to them. Just everyone loved Darlie. And one time she and Darren even made a friend's mortgage payment. Like that's just the people that they were.
Nice.
And then they
Pay
had
it
their
forward.
Exactly.
It'll come back to you.
They had their last child, Drake, on October 18th, 1995.
They got a D thing happening.
They were all D's.
Uh-huh.
So obviously things can't stay great forever. In 1996, Tasnac began to slow down. Orders were no longer coming in. The business was kind of starting to go upside down.
Oof.
And hard times were upon the family. They were like a month behind on all of their bills. They owed credit card debt. They owed about $10,000 to the IRS for back taxes. Like they just were not in the position that they once were in. But they didn't let their debt stop them from living their affluent lifestyle. Darlie was still shopping every day. The neighbors like would have never guessed what was going on if they didn't like publicize this information.
Mm-hmm.
So the day before the event that we're talking about took place, Darren applied for a $5,000 vacation loan and it was turned down.
A vacation loan?
I don't know how that happens, but it said he applied for a vacation loan. This video I watched that had a lot of details about it said he applied for a vacation loan.
So does that mean to take a vacation?
I think so.
To pay your bills?
I think it's to take a vacation. Take money to go on a vacation. I don't know. I'm game for it.
Yeah, of course you are.
I need a vacation all the time. And I can't afford one because I have to pay $36,000 a year for school, as we've already established.
Just take a vacation loan. What's 5,000 more?
Right, literally. What's another 5?
Exactly.
On May 3rd, 1996, this was a month before the events took place, but Darlie journaled about suicide and wanting her sons to forget that she ever existed and that she was like she didn't want them to remember her as their mom and like wanted them to move on after she took her own life.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
All over money?
She was also suffering from postpartum, I heard.
Oh, okay.
So she had a lot going on.
Right.
Yeah, because Drake would have been 6-7 months old at this point. Yeah. So this entry is obviously going to be like important later.
Okay.
We're talking about the case of Darlie, right? So yeah.
Things that she writes are going to be important.
Yep.
Okay.
So on June 5th, 1996, started like any other night. It was a normal night, right? They all had dinner as a family. It was summer. The boys were being crazy. Whatever. Darren and Darlie stayed up talking, and Darren went upstairs to the master where Drake was in his crib, and she stayed downstairs with 6-year-old Devin and 5-year-old Damon, who had been sleeping in the living room for fun because, again, it's summer. Why the hell not? They can do what they want. It's summertime. Live it up.
Yeah.
We're going to sleep on the floor. Okay, cool.
Right.
Your back's going to enjoy that later.
Or camp out on the nice plush sofas, I'm guessing, by their lifestyle.
Right. So she fell asleep on the couch with them. She hadn't gotten a good night's sleep in a long time because of the baby. She's like, Darren, it's your turn. I'm going to stay down here with the boys.
Right.
You can sleep upstairs with Drake tonight. I've got this. At 2:30 a.m. on June 6th, 1996, Darlie was awakened by Damon touching her shoulder, crying out for her. And she claims that then she saw a man rushing to the garage while hearing glass breaking, and she quickly followed him and then lost him. So the man had escaped, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did drop a knife, though, during his escape. So she picked it up, put it on the counter, later told the dispatcher that she touched it, and she hopes that they could get the fingerprints off the knife.
Okay.
Because, she's like, fuck, I just touched it.
Right.
She then looked down and realized she was covered in blood and that her throat had been slashed.
Oh, shit.
And that her arms were all cut up. And then she saw Damon and Devin both bleeding out.
Ugh.
So she called the police and obviously was screaming for Darren. And she went outside and yelled for her neighbor, who was a nurse that lived across the street. Darren got downstairs he was performing CPR on Devin while she was holding a towel, applying pressure to Damon's back, telling him to hold on, which he responded his last words, "Okay, mommy."
Aww.
I know. So sad.
So sad.
When the police got there, Devin was already gone, and Damon was gasping for his breath, trying to hold on for dear life. And he shortly passed away at the hospital or on the ride to the hospital. I don't know, but I know it was just very quick that he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So Darlie was bleeding out, and she was using a vacuum cleaner to help her stand up, but she was still coherent enough when the police got there to tell them there was a white man. He was about 6 feet tall in the home, wearing a black shirt, jeans, and a baseball cap, and he escaped through the garage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when investigators are looking around, they found a cut window screen in the garage and a large knife on the counter, which she told them she placed there, and it came from their own knife block, right? She's like, this is our knife. It was found on the ground. Like, this is obviously the murder weapon, but I picked it up.
Familiar.
Yeah.
How many times did that happen in the Coast to Coast?
Yeah.
Where he took a knife from their own kitchen.
Yeah.
And the one woman that went to prison for killing her son.
Yeah.
Yeah. That he had actually killed. Sorry.
Well, I don't want to spoil it all now, but everyone online says they think it's Tommy Lynn Sells that did this.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. 1996.
Yeah, in Texas. But then I saw some stuff online saying he was in prison and released early 1997.
Oh, yeah. We could look at the timeline. Because
So
that one...
I don't know exactly, but there's like multiple comments online of people saying they think it's Tommy Lynn Sells. Fuck you. I was going to save that for the end. And now I just fucking revealed, oh my God, guess what Easter egg I found in here?
I'm sorry.
It's someone else we covered that probably did it.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Sorry, Easter egg ruiner, Gail.
Fucking Easter egg ruiner. So
Wait, can we pause it for 1 second and I'll look and see if he was in prison?
Sure.
Or do you want me to wait till the end?
Well, I tried to look. I couldn't find any consistent evidence of him being in prison versus him not being in prison.
In my notes, I
have
always
the real
have the
timeline.
resources, so the timeline will be there. And that timeline was correct. It was just fucking some of the names weren't correct. So
well, then let me look at it. I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
Okay, so we just looked at the timeline for Tommy Lynn Sells. He was in prison from June 1993 to May 1997. Assuming that's correct, right? Because he's kind of in and out and a drifter and all this stuff, and people don't really know where he is because he's not being tied down to places.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But that was when he married the one woman.
Yeah.
And then when he got out, they moved, and then he left her. Anyway, So yeah, he was a drifter and all of that. But if he was in prison, that would be a documented thing. You would get prison records. And this is off of a timeline that has... the records of the timeline were accurate. It was just that some of the names weren't right. So I feel like that was just...
So for a fact then that timeline was accurate if the names weren't correct?
Yeah, that timeline...
You were able to back it up from Department of Justice resources?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because where was he in prison? What does it say? Was that when he was in prison in West Virginia?
Yes.
For the attack on Fabian?
Yeah.
Because on Wikipedia it said he was in Wyoming.
Right.
But no, that was in West
correct.
Virginia. And that's what he served that time because remember he got sentenced to... Because they only charged him with malicious assault or something. And they didn't charge him with attempted murder.
Malicious wounding.
Malicious wounding, yeah. Yep. So that is correct. So that's a bummer.
Okay, well...
But it doesn't mean other people don't do that same fucking shit.
Literally. Okay, so anyway, this is all supporting her story of an intruder, right? Came from her own knife block, the cut in the garage and the window screen. Immediately, though, police zeroed in on Darlie and they're like, you did it. They didn't arrest her yet, but they were watching her. Mm-hmm. They had their eye on her.
They got what do they call it?
Laser vision, not laser vision.
Well, laser focused.
Laser focused,
when they lose sight of getting any other suspects.
Tunnel vision.
Yes.
There we go. They got tunnel vision around Darlie.
Yeah, and they just want to think it's just this person and they don't look any further.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the garage actually showed no signs of forced entry anywhere. Even though that window screen was cut, the windows all had layers of dust on them that were not disturbed. Except for one fingerprint. There was no blood drops also on the garage floor, which is not consistent if it's not her. Not consistent if it was her, because she was bleeding, right? There should have been blood on the floor.
Right.
Anyway.
So no blood.
The mulch and the flower beds near this window outside were also undisturbed. No one broke into the garage, basically. Or nobody left notable evidence. There were also no
Or maybe
footprints.
it was sloppy crime scene work.
Yeah.
Because that
but they were untouched.
Yeah, but they could have been. I don't know.
We weren't there.
Yeah, we have no way of knowing.
No footprints or evidence that anyone fled out of the garage. Police also found circular blood drops on the floor of the home, which indicate that someone's either standing still or moving very slowly.
Well, if you've been fucking stabbed in the throat,
But basically not consistent with chasing an intruder.
Oh. Well, maybe it took her a minute to wake up because he woke her up, right? He came and tapped her on the shoulder and was like...
Her son? Yeah.
Yeah. Her son tapped her? I thought her husband.
No, her son.
Oh, Damon, not Darren.
Yes, Darren's the husband.
Okay.
Darren's psychologically damaged, not murdered.
Okay.
So this blood was all around the sink. So she stood over the sink for a while then, right, is what that means. She was the one standing. But they also found evidence through luminol testing that someone tried to clean up the blood around the sink.
Ooh.
So this case is a fucking roller coaster. That's why I said we could spend a whole year talking about everything on this case.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. We're spending one episode because people get bored. They fall off. I've pulled what I think is the most important information, what other people online think is the most important information, what's brought up a lot in the court transcripts as the most important information is what I'm presenting here.
Okay, perfect.
So there was also the vacuum, right, that she was kind of hanging up on.
Mm-hmm.
There was also, like, it was knocked over, though. I don't know if it was just the contents of it were, like, spilled out. Well, I'm assuming, yes, it was the contents of it that were just spilled out, but it said that when she got there, that she was kind of, or when they got there, that she was kind of, like, using it, like, as a, like,
to hold herself up.
Yeah, to hold herself up.
For support.
Yes.
Okay.
But Darlie's bloody footprints with the broken glass were there, and there were blood drops on top of this mess. So investigators basically think this whole thing is staged, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're zeroing in on her. They're like, she set this all up. This is her shit. Like, she did this. So then they also said Darlie's behavior seemed way too calm on the 911 phone call she made, and that she didn't listen to the dispatcher about holding pressure on Damon's wounds. And she did, right? Like, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
We know that from the court records and everyone else's testimony.
That she did.
But they're saying that she didn't. And when paramedics arrived to take Damon, she didn't follow or ask any questions about where he was going. So they're like,
well, one of her other sons is dead, and she's also been potentially mortally wounded.
Yes. So there's
maybe
a lot
you're
happening
not
here.
Thinking of all the questions.
Right. That's what I said. I was like, I literally put this in my notes that one could argue this is out of a state of shock, which I'm not trying to sway anyone right now into thinking she did it or didn't do it. That's your own opinion to form. But anyway, I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
But then she was asking cops if her jewelry had been stolen. Oh, I saw something though too. I forgot to write this in here. Yeah, her necklace saved her from a worse injury, which I have the worse injury in my notes when we get to the medical examiner part of this.
Okay.
I have the worse injury in the notes, but
the necklace she was wearing saved
her life. Yes.
Yeah, that does seem like an odd question.
Yeah, but she's like, oh, was it stolen? Then nurses at the hospital said that she was acting unusual for a mom who literally just found out both of her kids are dead. And she seemed withdrawn. And they said that she was more emotional about the state of her hair than she was about anything going on around her. That she was like, my hair's not done. So it's like, ugh.
I'm making faces. Sorry.
I know.
That's not good for audio.
That's not good for her either.
No, not at all.
That's really
the
bad
faces.
for her.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, ugh.
So she also told the police that there was a black car that watched the house for... I just bumped the microphone, sorry. She also told the police there was a black car that watched the house for an entire week, but there was no investigation ever done around this, no evidence of this ever. This is just her testimony, which wasn't even brought up in court. She's just later said this.
Okay.
8 days after Damon and Devin were brutally murdered, the family held a birthday party for Devin, since it would have been his 7th birthday, and they did this at the cemetery where they had just buried their 2 sons.
Ugh. God.
A local news station was invited to record the event, and for the public who was all grieving, like they were...
Also seems odd.
It is odd. I don't disagree with that, but...
Not necessarily the birthday party part, because everybody grieves in their own way, but inviting the press.
Yeah, I think it was because the community was unhappy. Obviously, the community's scared.
Yeah.
And it's just like they're trying to show up to support the family. And so they're trying to, let the community be involved, I guess, maybe. So that's why they're...
I don't know. That seems odd.
So this footage shows Darlie laughing and smiling and spraying silly string all over the graves. And they had like balloons and gifts. And there was a blimp in the sky with a banner that said happy birthday. Like this whole bit.
Wow.
And
especially since they're also broke.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of the blimp. How much a blimp costs.
Yeah. Literally.
So you're broke.
Unless someone did it as a favor for them.
Yeah. You're broke. You just lost half your family.
But Darren in this video footage, like there's like I'll try to get a screen recording of it or something and put it on the Instagram. And I'll obviously link the source because it's not our content.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like he's very visibly upset. Like you can see him, hands in his pockets, head down, and she's all giddy and all happy. Like, anyway, 4 days after the birthday party, 26-year-old Darlie was arrested for capital murder. The video was the biggest piece of evidence for the prosecution because her behavior is obviously not consistent with someone who just lost 2 of their 3 sons.
Mm-hmm.
And she would like justify that the reason why she like did that is because Devin was so excited for his 7th birthday. It was literally like 10 days away when the murder happened.
Still.
And she was, you know, just trying to make a birthday party that she was like, they wouldn't want us to be sad and upset that they're dead. They would want us to celebrate them.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's sitting uneasy with me.
Yeah, I don't love it either. But we dive this case is, if you have questions, please interrupt me and ask them.
Okay.
Because I read a lot, I ingested a lot when it comes to this case, but I left not a lot of, I don't want to say important, every bit of information in this case is important, but I already know we're probably looking at about an hour and a half after our opinions are formed, and I don't want to make it like forever long, probably about an hour and a half. Anyway, her trial began on January 6th, 1997 in Kerrville, Texas. They had to take it out of Dallas County because it was a media sensation already. Like it was just going to get too much biased.
Yeah.
But Kerrville is known for being extremely conservative. They like to hand out death sentences like M&Ms. They're like, it just wasn't a very great situation for her to wind up in being there.
Mm-hmm.
So Darren and Darlie refinanced their home to get her top-notch defense attorneys.
Okay.
They were led by Doug Molnar. The prosecution painted her as a vain woman who only cared about designer bags and her new boobs, and that her kids got in the way of her lavish lifestyle, so she would just off them instead of being a mother.
Wow.
The prosecution called 38 witnesses to build their very circumstantial case.
Okay.
I would say it's very circumstantial.
Yeah. And I'm just interested to hear what all these 38 people had to say.
Well, I don't go into every single 38 people, but like there was like the neighborhood kids who were like, oh no, she was great to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the nurse who was like, oh, she only cared about her hair.
Yeah.
You know, like there's...
Okay.
A wide spectrum here. They have experts. And I'm going to talk about some of the experts.
Okay, well, what about, like, do they have, like, some of the other housewives in the neighborhood that were, like, she was awesome?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, they had a bunch of different... There is a resource that I will link that you can look up every single person who testified and who they were to her and if they were, like, for or against with the prosecution and all these things.
Okay.
It's literally just 38 of them, so it's kind of a long list, obviously. But anyway, I'm going to move on. They called James Cron, who was an investigator on the case, who testified that the home had been staged. He arrived there at 5 a.m., took him 20 minutes to look around and decide that she was guilty.
Okie dokie.
So, like, that's not very good investigative work. It's not. That's very biased right away.
Yeah. 20 minutes, she's guilty. That's it.
So this blood splatter expert, Tom Beble, he testified that the cast-off blood patterns that were found on her pajama back, like her nightshirt back, showed that she lifted the knife over her head while she was stabbing the boys repeatedly. Ugh. So, like, there's splashback, right? I'm, like, doing the motion. So, yeah, there's blood flying everywhere while she's stabbing, allegedly.
God.
I'm switching my tabs over here because I found this literally right before we started. I have this website already linked. This is the one I was just telling you about. But I saw this, that they didn't talk about, that the wounds on her arm were extremely shallow, meaning that they were not defensive wounds, that it literally looked like she like nicked herself. Or they also said that it looks like she could have cut herself with the screen, cutting the screen out. They also said that this thing also said the boys' injuries were fatal wounds, obviously, to their chest and back that penetrated their ribs, liver, and lungs. One of Devin's chest wounds was so deep that it went into his posterior portion of his back. And like she had a wound on her chest also that's not brought up in court. And she had a bunch of mouth injuries that were not brought up in court. Like it almost looked like someone like had sliced open the inside of her mouth too. So just kind of weird things that were not brought up. Pieces of fiber from the screen of the garage, that window screen,
Mm-hmm.
were found on a bread knife that was in the kitchen. So it's just like not looking good. Obviously, there was a financial motive.
Mm-hmm.
The boys had life insurance,
Oh.
but this was only $10,000.
Oh, that wouldn't do shit for
And
them.
their funerals combined were about $14,000.
Yeah, I was going to say that wouldn't do shit for them.
Right. And so they asked her if she was willing to murder for money. Obviously, they didn't get the feedback they wanted.
Right.
Because then they went on to say, like, why wouldn't you kill your husband? He had a life insurance policy for $800,000.
Mm-hmm.
And her littlest was left alive. So, like, pretty stupid reasoning if they were like, oh, she just doesn't want to be a mom. Like, that's pretty stupid
Mm-hmm.
because she didn't kill Drake, the baby.
Right. She didn't kill the hardest one.
Right. The prosecution's smoking gun was the birthday party at the cemetery with her laughing and smiling and spraying silly string. The jury members said that this video was played for them like 10 times in court.
Mm-hmm.
The defense strategy was majorly focused on the lack of motive, the lack of evidence, the fact that there were no witnesses, and no confession.
Okay.
So the defense attorney, Richard Mosty, told the jury there's no reason for her to kill her kids. The medical and psychiatric experts said that they thought that Darlie was telling the truth, that she didn't do it, and that there was an intruder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're reading her body language saying that wasn't her.
Okay.
The medical examiner on the case testified that Darlie's slashed throat came within 2 millimeters. That's so fucking small, 2 millimeters
Mm-hmm.
of her carotid artery. And if it would have gone 2 millimeters deeper, she would have bled to death.
So probably doesn't sound like you would want to inflict that kind of a wound on yourself.
Right. He said that, he sees self-inflicted wounds in his career.
Mm-hmm.
The angle, all that was not consistent with her doing it herself.
Okay.
The cuts on her arms were also apparently very superficial. Like I said, like she could have gotten them from cutting the screen.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they tested the screen or not. I don't know. Spoiler alert, they didn't test like any evidence in this case.
Awesome. Well, because 20 minutes and she's guilty.
Literally.
Why bother? Why waste taxpayer dollars by actually investigating the crime?
So, against the advice of her legal counsel, she took the stand, and this was not a great move for her to do.
Okay.
Under cross-examination by prosecutor Toby Shook, she fell apart. She cried at odd times. She was super defensive. She claimed amnesia related to her trauma that she had experienced, which I think is fair, but he was like, no, girl, you got selective trauma. You've got selective amnesia. This is not... Because every time the new piece of evidence was brought up, she would suddenly remember something else to, like, explain it away.
Mm-hmm.
The jury didn't buy her, like, convenient amnesia. They were like... sure. There was a piece of evidence in relation to the birthday party, though, that was conveniently left out. The police left recording devices at the cemetery. Oh, they were surveying the family. Surveilling. Yeah, not surveying. Surveillance.
Survey says.
Survey says, yes, they were burying the family. They were conducting surveillance when they caught the recordings of the family holding the service, crying, praying, doing normal funeral sadness.
Mm-hmm.
Before the birthday party happened. So, like, this is all happening back to back to back. But of course, when Darlie was somber, that was left out of the evidence. Because
Convenient.
of the legal concerns that the police were not supposed to be surveilling the family. So that was never shown to the jury. Okay, so this other piece of evidence is so fucked up. Like, you need to take a deep breath for this.
Okay.
In... out, exhale. Investigators found one sock that belonged to Darren, a bloody sock, in an alley that was 75 yards from the house and had the blood from Devin and Damon, but not Darlie on it, okay?
Okay. That seems pretty significant.
Yeah, of course, prosecution argued that it was planted there before she slit her own throat in her own arms. But the problem that if Darlie planted that sock, like, how did she avoid leaving a trail of her own blood unless she hadn't allegedly cut herself yet, right?
Right.
Or her boy's blood, because if she's stabbing them repeatedly...
And she's got blood splatter all over her from the boys and on the back of her pajamas and stuff.
She's going to be leaving a blood trail herself.
Right.
Whether it's her blood or not.
Right.
Yeah, so she should have left a trail of blood. And the timeline, according to the medical examiner, was that Damon wouldn't have lived longer than 9 minutes with his injuries.
So not long enough for her to go 75 feet, yards? 75 yards away from the house to leave a sock.
Just listen to this. I have this full timeline about to come up here in a second.
Okay.
I have what they're saying happened. Anyway, it's speculated that he died after about 6 minutes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. They said he would die in 9. He died within about 6. Darlie was on the phone for 5 minutes and 44 seconds with police.
Okay.
She was on the phone for 1 minute or like 30 seconds later, the last 30 seconds or minute of the phone call, the police showed up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the paramedics arrived literally like a minute or two later. Damon was still alive. So this is a really, really, really tight timeline. So if you do the math, she had 2 minutes to stab the boys. This is all in a 2-minute time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 2 minutes to stab them both fatally, go to the garage, cut the screen, leave barefoot. Because remember, her bloody footprints are all over.
Mm-hmm.
Leave barefoot without disturbing the dust except for one fingerprint worth. Run 75 yards to drop the sock in the alley. Run 75 yards back. Climb back into the house. Stab herself. Clean up the blood around the sink. Knock over the vacuum. The blood drops. Stand still with the blood drops. All that XYZ. And then call 911 in 2 minutes.
Probably not.
Right. That's literally how that would have gone.
Probably not.
Mm-hmm. There was also unidentified facial pubic hair at the home.
Facial pubic hair.
Facial/pubic hair. I didn't say the slash. Or pubic hair. I don't know. Facial pubic hair. Gross.
Right? Like,
so
different.
unidentified nastiness at the house. So this trial went on for 5 weeks. On January 31st, 1997, the jury deliberated for 8 hours over the course of 2 days.
Ew,
Watched the silly
good.
string party about 7 more times. And on February 1st, 1997, she was found guilty of capital murder. And on February 4th, she was sentenced to death by lethal injection. Her mom, who was also Darlie, was extremely frustrated, obviously, as you would be about your kid being sentenced to death over killing your grandkids when she knows she didn't do it, and over a silly string video. So they started putting out appeals and petitions and XYZ, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that happened right the fuck away because they're like, get her off death row. They found that the person who transcribed the original trial made more than 30,000 errors in the trial transcript.
Awesome.
30,000 words were missing.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Like 30,000. That's entire conversations that were missing. Whole testimonies that were garbled up messes.
What was she doing? Just fucking
shit was incorrectly
just
recorded.
typing away, not
Paying attention, apparently.
Wow.
That's why, I mean, they had recording devices then. So that's really confusing. The appeals court was like, yeah, that sucks. Like, we're so sorry about that. But she's not going to get in a trial for it. So we're sorry. We apologize. Then her defense argued that her attorney, Doug Mulder, obviously had like a conflict of interest because, not obviously, I'm telling you this now. He had a conflict of interest in an unrelated gag order hearing where he represented Darren. So just a lot happening here.
Represented Darren for what?
A gag order. I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't find what it was about.
Okay.
But that it was a conflict of interest of him representing both the husband and the wife.
Okay. Because they didn't ever accuse the husband, right?
No.
So it was for something else.
Yeah, it was unrelated.
Okay.
In 2008, a court ordered that the DNA testing on fingerprints, the sock, and her nightshirt, but it hasn't happened. In 2017, prosecutors discovered that materials that were supposed to have been transported to the Department of Public Safety for testing had never been transported and sat in storage.
Okay.
In 2018, the case was sent back to trial court for review of DNA and other claims. Then in 2021, a judge ordered additional DNA testing to be done to the sock and other pieces of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Then in February of 2024, the sock's DNA that were finally signed off and ordered that samples were sent off to the UNT Center for Human Identification within 30 days. And as of today, we still don't know anything about those.
And that was 2024?
She's been waiting for these results for 18 years.
Wow.
Right? 18 years, I think. Happened in 1996.
That's more than 18 years.
Oh, that's 20 years.
That's
no,
more
30
than
years. No. Okay, hang on. What am I thinking? 18 years. 2008. That's why I'm thinking 18 years.
Okay.
Because that was the first time that they ordered the DNA.
Okay.
That was why that didn't happen then either. So that's like really frustrating. Some things that have tripped up investigators are the bloody fingerprint found on the coffee table in 2002. Testing revealed didn't belong to anyone in the Routier family.
Okay.
So that's bad.
That is bad.
There was a single fingerprint in that layer of dust that I mentioned in the windowsill where an intruder had allegedly broken, but it didn't match anyone's fingerprint. But a fingerprint expert said that maybe it could be Darlie's right ring finger, but he couldn't confirm it. So really, we're just knocking on some bullshit here.
Okay, we're just saying something that may or may not be true.
Basically.
Okay. Which shouldn't count.
Correct. The last piece of evidence that hasn't fully been explored was in the spring of 1996. Darren Routier approached, I don't know if it was Darlie's real dad or stepdad again. I had like a really hard time finding out about her life, about an insurance scam. He was like, hey, what if we had someone break into my house and fake a burglary to get insurance money? And he told investigators this, like he was very upfront that he was like, yeah, I kind of wanted to make a little insurance money. Like, I'm going under here, people. I have debts to pay and I like my lifestyle. So he's owning this, right? Anyway, he told the investigators that he had also told some other people who ran in some circles of car thefts in the Dallas area. So he's like, fuck, what if this went too far and went to one of those people and then this happened? So Darlie's obviously done so many interviews.
But nothing was stolen from the house, right?
No.
Okay.
You just murder. Darlie has done many, many, many interviews and she's maintained her innocence in every single one of them. And the silly string video she said was honoring Devin for his birthday, that no one got to see the tears beforehand, that she was like, why would he wouldn't want me to be sad, so I'm celebrating his life. He loves silly string. We're playing with silly string.
Okay.
It's
Well, that
still
makes
not
sense.
a good
It's
look,
just weird.
but-
Yeah. I don't know.
So Darlie's still alive today. She and Darren amicably divorced in 2011, but he still believes she's innocent. All of the answers to this case literally are in a lab waiting for testing. And that's so fucking frustrating because she's been on death row then for 30 years.
Well, and yeah, I mean, so she's been on death row for 30 years. And after all that time, the samples could degrade. So they might never even be able to get anything.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know.
Such bullshit. Okay, I'm going to keep going though. I've got more.
Okay.
Okay, so on this Facebook post from the page, Why Darlie Routier is Innocent, Myth versus Fact. Actually, I also messaged the person who's in charge who runs the page. I should see if they've gotten back to me yet. Because two of the pages that are like for in support of Darlie that were like run by her family the links are broken. And so I reached out to whomever's running that page to see if they could give me some more resources. I have some resources here, but see if they could further give me resources. Anyway, okay, so this Facebook page. Also, if you go to this page, please don't comment if you think she's guilty, because this page is for people trying to prove her innocence, not her guilt. It's a page that's in support of her. There's other pages out there that are against her. So if you feel so inclined to go out there and say that you think she's a bad mom and that she did it, then I recommend going not to this Facebook page, find a different Facebook page, please, because they are out there and they exist. So that's where I got the Tommy Linsells connection. And I was like, holy shit, this is a very full circle moment. Which maybe he really wasn't in prison. Who knows? Maybe it was him.
No, he was in prison.
I feel like enough people wouldn't be commenting about it, though.
Why? Literally what I always say. That somebody says something
And then it spreads.
and then
like
it gets
wildfire.
repeated and repeated and repeated, and then it becomes fact.
I also saw people talking about that it was like an act of devil worship or a satanic ritual since it happened on 6/6/96.
Also, don't really agree with that. But
Yeah, I don't know about
just
that.
my opinion, obviously.
Right, unless the sock was like a trophy of one of the boys, because that's what I couldn't find, what the relevance of the sock was. If the boys were wearing one of his socks, I couldn't find what the relevance of said sock was. Just that it was Darren's and that it was found with the boy's blood 75 yards away in an alley.
Right. Okay, but you have more, you said, so
I do.
I'll just keep shutting up over here mostly.
Also, this Facebook page has a bunch of good Google Docs about the case. That's transcripts and stuff like that. So like I said, there's so much on this case. We could spend so much time talking about it. But one that I saw was how Darren took the stand, said that Darlie was CPR certified, was trying to help her kids, where, there was that denial that the police were like, oh, she didn't do what we told her to do when we were on the phone with her. It's well, how do you know? You weren't fucking there.
Right.
The fuck? So this website, unsolved.com, has a forum where, people are debating whether they think she's guilty or not. That also brought up Tommy Linsells. People are comparing her to Casey Anthony online, of course, and Susan Smith. Yeah.
Do you know about Susan Smith?
I think I remember that one, that she drowned her kids.
In the car.
Yeah. But people are comparing her to them. But Darren and Drake have both maintained that they think that she's innocent. I didn't include it in here, but I guess I could just say it, that from what I could find, so Drake was initially put in foster care, and then he wound up with Darren's parents. And when he was really young, he got diagnosed with leukemia, which is really sad. But I think he's
sad.
Remission. He's good now.
Okay.
I don't really know. I just know he's done interviews, but he said he thinks she's innocent, right? That's the premise. We're here to talk about Darlie.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the fallout is important, but we're here to talk about Darlie.
Right.
So
if her son, who was 7 months old at the time, says she's innocent, then that's just based on opinion.
well, obviously, he doesn't remember anything.
Right.
But that's Darren is saying he thinks she's innocent. There's, just forum after forum after forum online discussing this.
I feel like, though, if her husband thinks she's innocent,
That speaks volumes.
that does speak volumes.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to think, honestly.
So there's a petition that has 95% of the needed signatures started by Darlie's mother, Darlie, to the governor of Texas that reads, I'm going to read it all to you. Governor Rick Perry, Darlie Routier, innocent on Texas death row in the early morning hours of June 6, 1996. Darlie Routier and her two sons, Damon and Devin, were brutally attacked as they slept in their home in Rowlett, Texas. As a result of this attack, Damon and Devin have died. Darlie was stabbed repeatedly, her throat slashed within 2 millimeters of her carotid artery. Within hours of this horrid attack, Rowlett Police Department focused on Darlie as being the attacker. No other persons were sought after the double murder of Damon and Devin Routier. The state of Texas believed Darlie Routier killed her sons, stabbed herself repeatedly, and slashed her own throat. Darlie was convicted in Kerrville, Texas, and sentenced to death row. Her trial was media-based, so that she was unfairly convicted of murder. We, the undersigned people, believe that the state of Texas and the Rowlett Police Department had not investigated the crime properly. I don't know why my mouth is having problems. I feel like I haven't been having problems a lot of this time.
So you're going to have them all in one sentence.
Basically.
Okay.
The first expert on the scene told police that the crime scene was contaminated, and so Rowlett Police decided not to hire him. We asked that the state of Texas reopen the case of Darlie Routier. We asked that she be granted a new trial so sufficient evidence and DNA testing can prove her innocence. Darlie Lynn has a right to be home with her remaining son, Drake, and her family members. We believe that a terrible injustice has been bestowed upon Darlie Lynn Routier. We ask the state of Texas investigate the wrongdoings of the Rowlett Police Department, i.e. the illegal bugging of her son's grave sites, officers pleading the fifth. Actually, it says taking the fifth, but I think she meant pleading the fifth. On the stand at the trial, not following leads because they had their mindset that it was Darlie Routier. There are just a few examples of the poor investigation. We asked the state of Texas examine evidence and test all DNA that will prove Darlie Lynn Routier to be an innocent victim of this tragedy. Evidence that supports her innocence includes bloody fingerprint at the crime scene that did not match any family members or the police, the bloody sock 75 yards down the alley from the house found within an hour that has boys and Darlie's. So yeah, I am confused because it said that everywhere else. It didn't say it had her DNA, but now this is saying it did. And that's neither here nor there. It has DNA on it.
Kind of.
Well,
but still, I don't think she would have had time to do that.
I don't think she would have had time to do that either. Anyway, as well as limb hair and deer hair on it. 911 tape, they apparently figured out it was deer hair. They just haven't tested it to see who else's hair is on it.
Okay.
911 tape played at trial had portions removed that the jury did not hear, which we talked about, that they were like, she didn't do what we wanted her to do. It's like, you weren't fucking there. You don't know.
Right.
Unidentified facial and pubic hairs at the crime scene. Darlie's nightshirt that has not been tested for DNA. Darlie Lynn Routier, is an innocent woman on death row in Texas. Darlie has never admitted to this crime and will never because she simply didn't do it. Please help her respectfully. And then the petition is on ipetitions.com/petition/Darlie Routier, which we will leave in the show notes and all that as well. I personally signed it, at least for the fact if she gets a new trial.
Right. Yeah.
Where it is not so just blindly charged by her guilt. Her not guilt, everyone else speculating her guilt. There were also a few change.org petitions that are now closed that say they're waiting a decision. Again, those two resources which I had, which were fordarlieroutier.org and justicefordarlie.net, are now, the links are broken. So I reached out to that person to say, hey, what's up?
Okay.
I don't know if they had anything to do with those pages, but they have to do with this Facebook page that's consistently updated, right? InvestigatingInnocence.org has a dedicated page for Darlie. The Innocence Project has archived files for Darlie, so I don't know what that means that they're archived.
Well, it means they don't have any movement on them, so there's nothing they can do, but they have them, so...
But you literally can't pull up the page, and when you click on it for, like, it says, watch this documentary, the, like, notes are about someone else's case, not Darlie's.
Mm.
So...
Well, and those Innocence Projects are privately funded, so there's that.
Oh, we're not quite there yet. I was assuming it was going to be way longer. You just let me keep blabbing. Like I said, it could have been like a years long episode. Like there's just so fucking much on this case. Like so many transcripts. Like I said, 38 people to talk about who took the stand either for or against her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so much happened. So much. Okay, well now we're to the part of my thing where I said, no, it's Casey's request. Here's our thoughts. And if you think she's guilty, she's already on death row. So maybe keep that to yourself.
Okay.
That's also in my notes. Or go to one of the Facebook pages that hates her.
Okay.
That, you know, you can go comment that you think she's Casey Anthony's twin, whatever. I don't care. I personally, I'll share.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's where I'm at.
I would like to believe I don't think she did it.
Mm-hmm.
In my heart of hearts. But I want her to get a new trial. Because at least we know the first one was unfair.
Yeah.
And for that fucking DNA to get tested.
Yeah, I definitely...
That's bullshit.
Yeah. I definitely think that. I also think that the investigation wasn't really an investigation. I think they just made up their mind and that's just what it was.
Right.
They didn't follow any leads, whether there were any leads or not. The mom in her letter said that they didn't follow any leads. So there had to be some leads in order for her to say that they didn't follow any leads. But yeah, it sounds like they just formed their opinion and they're like...
just zeroed in on her.
Yeah, they're like, she's just guilty. It's just like, don't waste your fucking time.
Right.
It's a waste of time. And you hear that pretty frequently. And all of the other things of like, I don't know, like Tommy Lynn Sells, obviously, in my opinion and based on what I can actually see online and the records.
I mean, that's his MO.
Yeah, it is his MO, but he was in prison at that time. But like he, like a lot of people that are just fucking crazy, don't necessarily take anything. They just fucking break in or like,
right. It took him 20 murders to finally take a trophy, quote unquote.
Yeah. And then like, I don't know. I think how many fucking murders are unsolved? Most of them.
Yeah, well,
most murders are unsolved unless...
There's that unsolved.com that literally covered this because they're an open discussion. Yeah, someone's on death row for it, but do we think she did it?
Right.
We want to see her at least go back to trial.
Yeah. Well,
get a fair opportunity to defend...
Exactly.
The evidence that's there and what it's saying.
It kind of also seems like, you know, like I said, these cops were like a dog with a bone and they just want to close the case because if you don't close cases, then you also don't look like a very productive investigator.
Right.
And so they just wanted to close the case and she didn't really get a fair shake. It doesn't sound like, and I don't have an opinion one way or the other, whether she did it or not. I'd like to think that she didn't do it, but I also don't have any way of knowing. And especially with all that, without all that DNA evidence being tested and all of that. And yeah. I mean, and people do crazy shit. I'm not talking about her necessarily. I'm just talking about in general. Because there was another, and I'll probably cover it maybe, but
probably maybe the usual.
Yeah, probably maybe. There was another one like Tommy Lynn Sells that was just hopping trains, but he literally just hopped trains and got off and killed people. So.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah, and that he was like close to our house too when you were little, our house where we lived. But our first house, like there was a train not too far from there that you could like hear, so not too far away. He was on that train. He had killed somebody in the area. So I mean,
hate that.
But he didn't do anything other than just kill people.
Right. He was a killer, not a taking trophies.
Yeah, he was a killer. He wasn't like a burglar or like I'm breaking in your house and if I happen to kill you.
Well, I think we hear more times than not that they're just killers and they're not burglarizing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of them do and some of them don't. Like Richard Ramirez.
Yeah.
I want to cover him so bad. I just should. I am fascinated by that disgusting person, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He's definitely my favorite killer because he's fucking fascinating as hell.
Yeah, he had some stuff. But
He had some shit. But my point was sometimes he took shit, sometimes he didn't.
yeah, well, he was crazy. Like most people probably who go around murdering people are.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not a sane thing to do.
No, taking another life, probably not. Okay.
Especially multiple times. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether she did it or not, but I definitely think that
I don't want to think she did it, but I don't like the idea that the dust wasn't disturbed in the windowsill with the slit and the fact that it was still on the knife. That was
the butter knife,
the bread knife.
Oh, bread knife,
which was in the knife block. I read, so it was like it was put back.
Okay,
which seems too clean.
Yeah,
and the cleaning up of the blood.
Yeah.
And the blood droplets. I don't like that idea either of the blood droplets.
Unless she was standing on the phone with 911 in the kitchen and like wiping it up while she was standing there.
They said she was running, screaming at the same time that she was on the phone with 911.
Okay.
That she was running across the street like while she was on the phone yelling for her neighbor. Oh, yeah,
because her neighbor, that was the nurse.
And yelling for her husband and trying to hold pressure on Damon's wounds.
Okay.
So.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
This whole thing is just sucks and it's sad. Like 2 little boys lost their lives. A family's broken apart. A boy grows up without his 2 older brothers and not with his parents, which seemingly had a picture perfect life. Mm-hmm. They probably could have come back on their feet if this didn't happen, right?
Right. I definitely don't think the insurance thing.
I definitely don't think I don't buy that either.
Yeah.
Because, her husband had a much bigger life insurance. So it's like, if you're killing for money, then wouldn't you go big or go home?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And go big enough that the boys had a collective $10,000 and the funeral expenses in their own were $14,000.
Right.
It's like, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. And then the other thing that you said that her husband was thinking about doing like an insurance scam or something and that maybe that got out of hand.
But nothing was stolen.
Nothing was stolen. And so if somebody was doing that and also then you would have to have a plan of like, okay, take this, 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 and this. And then when I get the insurance money, I'll give you X amount of dollars.
Right.
So yeah, that doesn't seem likely at all.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much happening here. Oh, yeah, if you go to that website that I'm going to leave right now, Darlie Routier, factandfiction.com, mm-hmm. like there's so much they talk about. There's an introduction part. There's a who's who. So there's the statements from the family. There's a section for in her own words that has multiple different addendums to it.
Okay. I'm going to, though, also not send you that link for the timeline that I have, but his actual official rap sheet.
Okay.
So that way we can post it on here. Because he for sure was in prison in West Virginia at the time.
Yeah. I mean, there's like literally so many different myths on this. Like they're trying to discredit the vacuum cleaner thing. They're trying to discredit the fibers. They're trying to discredit the towel, the fingerprints on the knives. I didn't even dive into what the fuck the wine rack myth is. But like there's a lot that they're discrediting on the website for her. But obviously, it's in favor of her. There's bias towards her. Mm-hmm. So if you want to do more digging, my recommendation would just be to do it kindly because her family is out there advocating for her and to be heard in a new trial mm-hmm. and to perhaps be, taken off death row, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to look at when her new death row date is. I could not find it to save my life.
Okay. Well, maybe she doesn't have one yet.
Because there's open... shit happening right now.
What I was going to say also was
open shit that they should have done forever ago. Yeah. In 2008 when they first requested it.
Tommy Lynn, well, that's our justice system for you. But Tommy Lynn Sells, remember, he confessed to a murder that had the same MO as his, but somebody else had been arrested for it. And it was for sure that other guy.
Yeah.
So
he just wants to take credit where credit is.
No, I'm just saying that other people do the same shit.
People
break into houses, take the knife that's there and kill people.
Oh, yeah. But people, I think, were connecting Tommy Lynn Sells because he was out of prison very shortly after this, I suppose, mm-hmm. and in Texas, mm-hmm. like right when this was happening mm-hmm. or right after this happened. So that's why they're like, oh, it's him.
Yeah, except for that he got out of prison in West Virginia and moved to Tennessee.
Yeah.
So there's that.
But anyway, when I do the Instagram, I'll be leaving these things there.
Okay.
these pieces of information, these resources for everyone.
Okay.
I don't know. Make the decision on your own, what you think. It doesn't really matter what we think, though. I mean, the court of public opinion is, of course, important for getting our voices out there and getting shit heard and getting shit done.
For all of our 5 listeners.
But no, I'm talking about everyone.
Oh, you're like getting the word out from us, public opinion.
Well, not just
all
from
5
us.
of you.
Well, who knows? Someone could Google her name and find our podcast.
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. It's not my decision to make.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I don't have enough information to make a decision.
Right. I wasn't there.
Nope. But I definitely just feel like...
My heart of hearts tell me that she didn't do it.
Well,
but
and I just definitely feel like there wasn't an actual investigation. That's all I have. That's all I know for sure.
Right. It was so muddied that it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do an there was no investigation.
That's what I'm saying. There was no investigation. So
At
that's
all.
the only thing that I know for sure.
Yeah. My heart of hearts is saying she
They
didn't
just
do
were
it,
like,
though.
oh, she's guilty.
But
Okay,
I don't
we're
want
good.
anyone to come after me and be like, okay, child killer, because I'm not. I'm just saying in my heart of hearts, I would like to believe a woman who's never even sat there and told her cellmates that she didn't do it, you know?
Mhm.
Eventually they all confess.
Not
She hasn't
necessarily.
confessed.
However, all right. Well, thank you.
They do. I feel like they all confess eventually.
No, I don't think they do.
Really?
I don't think they do.
Huh.
I think some people will go to their death pleading innocence even though they're guilty. I do. I
Okay.
really do.
I'd like to find evidence of this person.
Okay. I'm not going to find it for you because that's way too much work, but I do believe that
Why can't you
happened.
find it? Someone who was put to death who maintained their innocence the whole time, or someone who died in prison who said that they never did it.
Okay, fine. I'll find
Present
it. There's
it to
probably
me.
like 70 of them. While the stuffed mushrooms are cooking in the oven, I'll find it.
Okay, there you
Okay.
go.
All right.
I'm just saying, like, I'm sure it happens. Okay, anyway, we're starting a conversation here. So follow us on Instagram at That's Disturbing Podcast and leave a comment when this is live, please, what you think about it. You don't have to get into excruciating detail. Just, you know, even if you don't know, like we're sitting here going, oh, we really hope not, but we are not informed enough to make a decision on this.
Yeah.
Then let us know that too. We just appreciate it. We want to start a conversation. We want to get more involved with these sorts of things. And like I said, there's all the petitions and stuff that you can sign as well. And if you think she did it, please don't go to these pages that are trying to make shit happen for her to get a new trial and go against her.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. That's disturbingpodcast at gmail.com. Also, if you don't have an Instagram or if you have my phone number, text me and let me know what you think. That's all. Bye-bye.